Make it happen. All right. I think I have good feed today. Right. Maybe. I just saw a line. We'll see. We will see. Pull this back so you can see my face. Right. Now, something sweet. I went back and I was thinking about Robert Smith, okay, of The Cure, and how we viewed him like you would Robin Hood, except on like a, I don't know, very supreme level. But something I realized later is I was like, okay, every single one of the artists I was drawn to had a folk element. They played acoustic. Like, let's see, Chris Cornell, he did an acoustic tour, Higher Truth tour, right? Let's see, Jeanette Napolitano, she plays acoustic. Robert Smith, acoustic, well known. But that band, The Cure, has lasted so many years. I would say one of my favorite top bands, period. I mean, I know the fact that, hold on, Robert Smith survived. Okay. I'm going to turn off the laptop mic. All right. So I have stereo mix and then I have my auxiliary jack into the amp. So anyway, I want to talk about Robert Smith. Now, Robert Smith was the equivalent of Robin Hood in goth culture. And there's a reason why I'm covering this, because I'm going to cover some material on Robin Hood. And I thought about that, from an early age. My friends were calling me Robin, okay, or Rob or something like that. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? Because everything in my life reflects that. So I'm reading into an article written by an English author, and now he is making references, and I'd also mention before I say this, that I have the last name Wood connected pretty close within my pie chart as far as my genealogy. So I'm like, what's up with this? My name is Robert, and I have the last name Wood. So it's more than just some little fantasy where you want to be Robin Hood. There is something inherent and significant, and that would be the king or the queen of the green wood or of the wildlands. And I was thinking about that in context to my life, because my life's been pretty wild at times. And going to, it was the Rainbow Coalition. Now again, that is a mixed bag of people. That has nothing to do with being gay. I was 18 when I went to that gathering back in the 90s. But it was a transformative process. So I'll relate that to Robert Smith. It is well known that Robert Smith was tripping on acid and who knows what the hell else, mushrooms, whatever, when he made the album Disintegration. But that's not the only time. But you see, reason why that band has lasted so long is that everyone in the band is folkish to the core. Robert Smith is. I don't even know what would be at his house if you went there. You'd be tripping your shit. You'd be like, what the hell? He's like, oh yes, this armor over here is a collector's item. It belonged to this person and whatever. I would think he would be like that because he was artistic and he became like the creative straight guy model, right? for, you know, if you wanted to be romantic and be appealing to the ladies, then you would try to be like Robert Smith. And that's how it was when I was younger, you know. And I remember like being traumatized by abuse and other shit. So I went into music, and Robert Smith's frequency, just like, I don't know how to explain this, but almost like on a esoteric level, that his music was infused with his passion, where see, he's similar to Jeanette Napolitano in that way, in that they had a strong drive and passion for their art. And that is important. If I don't see that or feel something beyond the money factor, then what is the point? It's like buying a candy bar. Who gives a shit? Eat the candy bar, throw the wrapper in the trash can. So instead of doing that, why not create something of a legacy? That is what the Cure did, right? And you can tell that Robert Smith, for the most part, maintained control over the creative process, versus it gets handed over to the record company, and essentially their engineers produce it and then use your musicians, your face, your looks, whatever it is that sells the album. And then Robert Smith had sex appeal, so all the ladies were, you know, that's how it was. As I told you, he was the goth king. He was nearly worshipped by those goth chicks. Now, even today, the earlier generations that remember Robert Smith, that's a permanent lifetime thing, right? Where some bands come and go. The Cure will always be one of my favorite bands. Always. That is how supreme Robert Smith is to me. Just saying. Not to mention, we have the same first name and a last name starting with an S. Funny that my sister married a guy with the last name of Smith. Well, my youngest sister. Like, okay. What's up with this? So as I said, Robert Smith is the goth king, even now. He will always be the goth king. That's how it is. I was listening to this really cool session from 1980. The Cure, it's called Peel Session. But you see, where a lot of people did not survive, or let's say the band did not stay together. You pay attention and you're going to see who can maintain leadership. What's that tell me? That tells me Robert Smith is the full captain. And he is. Captain Robert. He is. You know, and I thought about that in context of women too, captaining bands. So leadership, you may have different styles, but there are specific traits. And, you know, can you identify what those leadership traits are? Why are you drawn to those specific people? I hit replay on the Peel sessions, the Cure Peel sessions, P-E-E-L. Anyway. So I'm going to read, but I'm like, what better than to have that playing in the background while I am reading a Robin Hood ballad. Okay, so a friend of mine suggested going to Gutenberg.org, so that's where I am. She knows who she is. And all right, let's see. What do we got? Uniform with this volume. Popular ballads of the olden time. First series. Let's see. Ballads of Romance and Chivalry, 1903. Second series. Ballads of Mystery and Miracle. Of Mirth. Whatever that is. 1904. Third series, Ballads of Scottish Tradition and Romance, 1906. Let's see, London, Sidgwick and Jackson Limited. Okay, whatever. Moving down, Popular Ballads of the Olden Time and Selected, edited by Frank Sidgwick. Remember, Frank means to speak freely. I'm always coded. I have like double meaning behind everything I say, right? It's how my brain works. Okay, focus. Fourth series, Ballads of Robin and Other Outlaws. Okay. Come sit we down under this hawthorn tree. The morrow's light shall lend us day enough, and tell a tale of Gawain or Sir Guy, of Robin Hood or of Good Clem of the Clough. Okay, moving down. Now, so it's got like contents. Shall I do it really quick? Introduction to the Robin Hood ballads. A guest of Robin Hood. Let's see, the first fight, second fight, okay, all the way down, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to read everything, so sorry. Let's see. Now, the specific Captain Ward and the Rainbow, I have no idea what the hell that is. But where's the section? It was relating Robin Hood or Robin of the Wood, and it specifically referenced the Wood as the last name, pardon me. And I had found it. Where is it? But it was getting into relating him to Woden. All right. Let's see. Historical Robin Hoods going down. Oh, yeah. Let's see. Robin Hood the myth. I can find it. I'm looking. Because I kind of scanned down and I had it and then I moved. Okay, it covers Barnesdale. We know about that, right? Yeah. Sherwood. Okay. Ooh, a guest of Robin Hood. Yes. I think I've gotten into this before. Okay. Huh. I'm going. I know I'm taking a while. It will be worth it, I promise. Let's see. This is where you have to start brushing up, say, on Old English, like the rule I remembered with the F and the S being interchangeable, so that when you go through, since I'm not a Old English scholar, and I don't claim to be, wow, it's long. But anyway, the key note is that Robin Hood, as has been discussed by others, was more than just simply the legend of a hero or something. It was a direct link to the wild ones of the wood, right? That could even have a druidic, here we go, representation. This is what I wanted. Okay. In 1845, Adalbert Kuhn in Hopp's, Zeitschrift, volume 4, 72 to 94, attempting to show that Robin Hood was a mythological figure representing one of the manifestations of Woden. Here we go. That's the green man, right? As a vegetation deity. And half a century later, Sir J.H. Ramsay suggested that he was a wood spirit. Here we go. Corresponding to the Hodekin of German tradition. See, I also have some German ancestry in my background. Theories such as this seem to be fascinating to all sorts of scholars. Perhaps they involve continually a minute appreciation, let's see, of fine shades and probability. In the present instance, they reach a point at which it is suggested that the rose garland, here we go, worn by the potter. Now remember, Harry Potter, Potter has a significance in the last name. It has a meaning. That's why they used it. Okay? Not in the ballad of Robin Hood and the Potter. But in their later play is a survival of the strife between summer and winter. There you go, right? Oak and holly, something like that. Certainly there is no need to seek a mythological origin for the Robin Hood of the ballads. But we must proceed to consider that the Robin of the folk drama. To do this, it is necessary to go back some centuries before the time at which we first hear of Robin Hood the Outlaw, and to follow the development of the English folk summer festival from song and dance to drama, and from the folk games. Let's see, the induction of May, right? The induction of autumn, I would say invocation. The play of the king and queen of the wood, right? Which separately or together, so that might have been a big sacred gathering to offer the queen and king of the wood, right? Elf king, elf queen, show respect, whatever it is, for longevity of the land and fertility of the land. Of course, that's my opinion. Which separately or together were performed at least as early as the 13th century to the May game or King's game of the middle of the 15th century. So they would have overwritten that prior, right? Going back way before the 13th century, before written record, we had this, in my opinion, of course. Going back again to the 13th century and crossing over to France, the Gauls, right? Okay. We find the feats du Mai, which were evolved with the help of minstrels, from the French folk summer festival. The names of Robin and Marian, customarily appropriated to the king and queen of these fetes or festivals, you know what I mean? So that would have a root meaning, right? Probably ritualistic in origin, obviously. Now, between 1450 and 1500, the May game becomes associated in England with Robin Hood, setting aside the possibility that Bauer's reference mentioned above to the comedies and tragedies may allude to the May game. We can find many entries in parish records from all parts of England, which show that the summer folk festival had developed into a play of Robin Hood further. It has been very plausibly suggested that about the same time the French Robin, becoming confused with the English one, brought in Marian. There's your French overwrite. There's your Charlemagne connected back. And thus supplied our Robin Hood with his maid Marian. So that was an add-on. Now, prior to that, could that have been the Elf Queen? Interesting. Who has no place in the true ballads of the outlaw. Kaboom! Bam! Wow, that's eviscerating right there. That's to the core. That ain't playing no games. Let's see. In 1473, Sir John Paston wrote a letter in which he refers to a servant of whom he says, I have kept him this year to play, let's see, St. George and Robin Hood and the Sheriff of Nottingham. There has also survived, here we go, a leaf of manuscript. I like how they say that. That's Leaf, a leaf of manuscript. Love it. Perhaps it is only an accident that it was formerly in the possession of the first editors of Paston Letters, of about the same date, which contains a portion of the play to which Sir John refers, that of Robin Hood and the Sheriff, of William Copeland's edition of The Guest, a dramatic appendix of the play of Robin Hood, very proper to be played in May games. Okay. Printed 1560. This, in fact, consists of two plays carelessly tagged together. See, this is what they were doing. They were fusing storylines. They were changing characters. Why is that a problem? It's a problem. First, Robin Hood and the Friar, who is distinctively called Friar Tuck. Now, could Friar Tuck have originally been possibly a druid or a Merlin type character? Overlay, possible. Okay. And second, Robin Hood and the Potter, partly founded on the ballad of that name. Friar Tuck, it should be noted, occurs also in the earlier fragmentary play. But there is no friar. Oh my God. See, they add the friar. They add Marion. Oh my God. All right. In Robin Hood's, Mania, I don't know, whatever. In any of the older ballads, and no Maid Marian in either the old ballads or the above plays. This goes to the root of everything I'm talking about. Overwrite, adding of characters, twisting of the storylines. Then what? You lose the folk tradition. What is the lesson being taught? Exactly. Okay. These complications of Robin Hood's company are further confused by the fact that, here we go, that the Morris dance, which was universally affiliated to the May game, borrowed therefrom not only Maid Marian, but Robin Hood, Little John, and Friar Tuck. So they overlaid on our pagan rituals, so that amongst the later ballads and broadsides we find Robin's company increased. So it was a smaller group prior. However, by that time, Robin himself had degenerated from the fine character exhibited in the earlier ballads given in the volume. Now, you remember the override on Arthur. It's the exact same methodology. It is done to confuse you to what the true character is and the true nature of the character, right? To empower the church, to disempower the wild man. They don't want the wild man, right? They want the submissive beta. Robin Hood is not a beta. He is an alpha, for sure. Okay. Topography of Robin Hood's haunts. Although Robin Hood belongs in legend no more exclusively to any definite district than his noble forerunner, King Arthur. Bam! Holy shit. This is what I was guided to. I have never read this. And this guy, who's a high level scholar, just made the same exact connection I did. I didn't have anyone tell me that. Nope. Let's see. Forerunner, King Arthur. Yet, like King Arthur, he has become associated, particularly with one or two haunts, and it is no easier, nor in the end more profitable. See, they were profiting off of it, claiming connection. Wow. To reconcile Leoness with Carlisle and Inglewood. Now, key, Ing, the god Ing. Now, let's see. Ing, lay, wood. So if I use that as, how about I say Ing in the wood? Huh. Inglewood. I don't know. Then to disentangle Robin Hood of Barnesdale, from Robin Hood of Sherwood Forest. It's got a map, but let's see it. West Riding, Yorkshire, East Riding, Lincolnshire, Nottinghamshire, Derbyshire, and that's the map. It's a hand-drawn map that he included. All right. The simplest way to begin is to eliminate from our consideration the numerous Robin Hood's hills. Oh, shit, here we go. Wells, stones, oaks, or butts. Why is the oak associated? Why are hills or mounds and wells associated with Robin Hood? Question. Because he was the god of the wood. Of course, that is my opinion. That's why he's considered a spirit of the land, a guardian of the land. Anyway, read that again. Robin Hood's hills, wells, stones. So there's your wooden stone, right? What have I been saying? Naturally drawn there, right? It's because I have a direct link. Robin Hood's hills, wells, stones, oaks, or butts, some of which may be found as far distant as, say, of Gloucestershire, however you say it, Somerset. The English people will know that. So many of these probably bear his name in much the same way as other natural freaks bear the devil's name. See, that's what they did. They overlaid demonic shit on our god of the wood, which is about as true-hearted and in balance with nature as you could be. So it was divorcing us from our natural equilibrium with the land, the earth, and so on and so forth. The spirit of the land, that is what was attacked, in my opinion, of course, on an esoteric level. How does that affect an entire group's consciousness? It affects it, in my opinion, of course. A large number can be found in what may be called Robin Hood's home counties, Yorkshire, and those which touch Yorkshire, Lancashire, Derby, Nottingham, and Lincolnshire. Undoubtedly, the evidence of the best ballads goes to show that at one time there must have been at least 2 cycles of the Robin Hood ballads, one placing him in Barnesdale, the other allotting him headquarters in Sherwood. But it appears that even the ballads of the 15th century make little effort to discriminate between the two. See, so this would have been the elite overwrite. It's directly connected to, say, the King's Woods not being allowed to hunt anymore for survival, and then them being overly greedy. That was their way to control the land. But it was not the way the rightful king would have done it, because being the rightful king does not mean a greedy pig, boss hog, whatever. But it's often what happens, ruled by might. Anyway, Robin Hood and the Monk, 1450. He introduces in its first 5 lovely stanzas to Sherwood, the Robin Hood and the Potter. Let's say 1500. Okay, whatever. Seen as Nottingham in the Sherwood district. Little John refers to Wentbridge. See, Little John could have been a different character, or maybe he was never there. Which lies in the heart of Barnesdale, yet knows every path in merry Sherwood. Here we go. In the Guest, compiled as it is from ballads of both cycles, no attempt was made to reconcile their various topographies. But it can be seen the general geography of the first division of the Guest. Okay, let's see. is that of Barnsdale, while the second division, dealing with the Sheriff of Nottingham, mainly centers round Sherwood. And this, let's see, the king goes presumably from London, let's see, 322, let's see, to Nottingham via Lancashire, and 8th jumps from Nottingham to Kirksley. The Robin Hood and the Guy of Gisborne, certainly an early ballad, although the Percy Folio, which supplies the only text. See, and this is where printing came in, where they were controlling what was going to be printed, just like modern day propaganda. Same shit. This is exactly where all of the media got their ideas, because originally a bard or traveling musician, if they liked the king, they would sing praises. If they did not like the king, then they would talk shit. Now, when the power shifted or whatever, or that king caught them, if they're an outlaw, and they're well known for traveling around doing that, that could mean their life. They would be killed. Okay? The majority of the places mentioned in the Northern or Barnsdale cycle will be found in the south of the West Riding of Yorkshire, a district bounded by the East Riding of Lincolnshire to the east, Derby and Nottinghamshires to the south, and the River Kildare to the north. To the west, the natural boundary is the high ground of the peak, which divides Manchester from Sheffield. I've never been to England, so I wouldn't know, but it would be cool. The town of Barnsley lies slightly to the east of a line joining Leeds and the Sheffields. Barnsdale itself is east and north of Barnsley, where the high backbone of the Pennies drops toward the flats surrounding the River Humber. So it's close to a body of water, right? But the main point I was making is that it was a direct connection to Woden, or the wild man of the wood. All right? Ooh. Okay, how far down? Ooh, guest of Robin Hood. Mm-hmm. So, let's see, he's getting into this. Oh. Anyway, I'm not going to go into that. I'm kind of scanning down real quick. Ooh. Go to Scarlock. No. Anyway, I think I'm going to stop there for a moment and think. Oh, yes. I was going to, that's just a brief kind of overrun. And now I'm going to do something on King Arthur. So that was from Project Gutenberg. And I always give credit to the authors and all of that stuff, you know. I think I did and mentioned who it was that did the article. It's important to me to do that, and I've been that way since I was young. So selected and edited by Frank Sidgwick. All right. And then Ballads of Mystery and Miracle. So they've got all the different ones, 1903, 1904, and 1906 in the total article. All right. Anyway. Now, coming back so I can see. Oh, yes. When I did, I talked about the origins of the name Merlin, okay, and how that overlay happened. And then you go back to Murday, and that means excrement. And you're just like, you look, even modern day society, what happened to our old school virtuous ways? They were overlaid, just like, let's see, a casino owner that is running prostitutes is what they turn shit into. Where before you had gentlemanly and ladylike honor, not just chivalry, goes beyond that. The lord and lady of the forest, right? elf queen, elf king, king of the wood, queen of the wood, so on and so forth. All right. So with that reviewed, Mirrodin, right? And then the Roman overlay, the Christian overlay, because those two are linked through Latin. All right. Let's see. Magicians, priests, and spies. This looks interesting. So when I got tired last night, I stopped reading. But now I'm here again. All right. No. I have a feeling. Before that, I'm going to pick up my, I think I brought out the Patriot. Also tuned the 1975 Fender, but this has some of the best sound of everything. So. I'm calling the Elf King. I'm calling the Elf King. King of the woodland and queen of the woodland. There's the queen of Elfame. Oh, he pulled the sword from the stone. I-oh, that's what they say. See, I think Robert Smith would have been well versed with Robin Hood. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if he was hardcore into that. I really wouldn't. Because it's probably, I'll bet you he has an ongoing joke with his band of Robin and his Merry Men or something. It would not surprise me, because that band is 100% English. As far as I know, there could be some admixture. Robert Smith is definitely 100% English. He always had that trippiness about him anyway, like Robin Hood would have. Oh, the Chalmesi in the forest land. You can't hunt the king's deer. We used to be the wild ones in the woodland. They told us we had to stop talking to trees. Stop living in harmony with the lambs. Sovereignty of the land. Oh, wanna break it down. Spirit of the land and language of my people call. Robin of the wood, Robin of the woodland, Robin of the wood. Yeah, Elf King on the way. Robin I can feel the woodland call. Said, I don't accept your deception, overlay, overriding lies. There's only one true Robin of the woodland. Lord of the Greenland, Lord and Lady of the Greenland, oh, Queen of Elfame. Robin, I am. Robin, I am. Rough as I be in the woodland. Brother, I was feeling it on, brother. Well, flaming tree, I was feeling it all in the stone circle round. Oh, rough as I am, I know. Long way to the other world, but it's in right here, 'cause it never left, it just went deep into the storm. Oh, until a day that they would awaken to the ancient root down. Oh, ancient root down. Oh, root down. Oh. All right. These glasses make me feel a little nerdy, but it's all good. Makes it easier for me to read, especially the screen from a distance. You know, freak show. I know, I am. I admit it. Fine. Here we go. Oh yeah. Now I definitely feel like I'm in the Middle Ages, right? And they always have those little hats with the this or something. Let me fix it. This thing's almost like a helmet, and they used to wear like little leather helmets like this as protection, light armor or something. Or you would have a leathered hood that was maybe conditioned with animal fat or something, so it would slough off the rain or you know, whatever it is, so that even if it was raining, you could hunt, right? And your hood would be big enough to protect your field of vision to be able to shoot accurately and not have water running into your eyes. So that's one aspect. Also, the Robin Hood hat itself would have sloughed off water pretty nicely. So eventually, I'm getting a Robin Hood hat. Oh, I will. But it will not be a cheap-ass piece of shit. Nope. It's going to be a nice hat. It probably cost me, I don't know, $50 to $100 to buy it. But it must be decent. More than likely, a wise woman would have made it. Ha 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 ha. Or you could have a leather worker version. Let's see. The other goal. Make elf boots. Am I joking? No, I'm not. I love garb. I admit it. Okay, fine. It was always fun. I always did that when I was younger. You know, find a way to be creative and expressive. So when we were kids, for fun, instead of video games, we used to throw little fake concerts. I don't know, little kids like 10, 11 years old, get a broom or something, and that became a guitar. I don't know, whatever. Pick up something, and that a remote control could become a microphone. I don't know, whatever. Fun shit we did. So it's definitely more Robin Hood-esque when I was younger versus just video games, you know. And even in our scouting, we had places, you know, Sherwood Forest. And that was, I was like, what? We're going to Sherwood Forest? Shit, yeah. Well, it's not the real one, but anyway, it was up in the canyon areas and, heavy trees. So it perfectly fit. And living in Utah, you know, we are known for mountains, in certain forested areas, also desert, being a desert state, whatever. But we still have quite a few trees. We have huge old growth sycamore trees. Those are all over Liberty Park. Those are some of the oldest and tallest trees in the state, depending on the area that you were in. I remember also going through Oregon reminded me of Robin Hood because of how green the forests were there. And so my mom is from there, she's literally from the green wood, right? My dad has more the heavy English. He's where I get my German side and Scottish. My dad was a big, robust dude. So, he definitely had a warrior's build for sure. I'm not as big as him. I'm taller, but I'm not as thick, right? But I have the genes. So, okay. Here we go. I liked how the author challenged the premise rather than here's our overlay and the whole book is a goddamn Christian Latinized overview. And I'm like, no, that's not what I wanted. Back to root origin or nothing, because deception and the add-ons. To get back to the original archetypal meaning rather than the overlaid archetypal meaning. See, and this is what they did. Psychologically, it was a psyos. And the core is the language, the root, the culture, and connection to the land. All of that was fused into one thing originally, but it was fragmented intentionally, of course, in my opinion. Okay. Magicians, priests, and spies. The historical author may have been a Celtic Christian. No, I would say Celtic Christian overlay. They fused the pagan with the Christian, as we know. As traditional descriptions of his armor suggest, by whom? Whom is describing his armor as that? You notice I break down every detail as I go. Well, as best I can. But he also inherited, here it is, again, the use of the word mantle. Remember what I said, green mantle. Huh? Of the long line, oh shit, of pagan kings. Direct link. Linked to the health of the land, sovereignty of the land. Seership, prophecy, traditional practices of blessing and cursing, which were held in great respect and awe. Okay, so let's see. Let's think about this. The sovereignty of the king relies on his relationship with the goddess of sovereignty of the land. If he is found to break his oath, let's consider how Morrigan, the goddess Morrigan, related to oath breakers with extreme violence. She would kill you for breaking an oath. For real. And so as you look at the representation of, let's say, Finn McCool, all right, and how he died on the battlefield. Why? He refused to have union with the goddess of sovereignty as the representation, therefore did not bless the fertility of the land, and died in battle. That's why he lost, in my opinion, of course. That could have been changed. And as you've noticed, they flipped the story to defile the goddess of sovereignty. That's why I hammer on this. because the same shit was done to the wise women and the wise men, but especially the women were targeted. Traditional practices of blessing and cursing. So on the cursing side, if you were found not to be holding the heart's flame of your people, there would be a curse on you and the land because you're not honoring the sovereignty. Here it is again. The love of your people, all right, which were held in great respect and awe, are likely to have formed essential elements in his civil and campaigning apparatus. So there we have the propaganda use, right, that he's kind of alluding to. To put this into perspective, we must remember that the late, here it is, Roman gentry in Britain still decorated their villas with pagan images they overwrote. Even when combined with early Christian signs or symbols. Where did those signs and symbols come from? Why did they incorporate them? Such as the Chiro, Chirho, or cross. There's the cross. Now that cross was a sun symbol, right? They took our sun symbol and they flipped it and turned it into a cross. What is a cross? It is a sacrificial occult item utilized for murder, sacrifice. Originally, that would have represented the wheel of life and death, multiple meanings throughout the year, different festivals, right? Oak and Holly. That's what they did. So they put death over the top of our life symbols. That is a curse. You hear? In my opinion, of course. And that pagan classical poetry practices and philosophy were by no means annihilated by the fact that the empire, that's Rome, that's Charlemagne, had taken up a branch of Christianity, here it is, as its political cult. Wow, this guy is eviscerating. I love it. I like it when authors do this. I hate it when they just go along with the main line. And like, who cares? Have you heard that a million times? Thus, in Italy, for example, we find one of the, here it is, earliest representations of Arthur, where he is shown riding a goat and surrounded by images of the zodiac. Thor, goat, sovereignty of the land. The goat is an earth-based animal, Anyway, the keynote I pointed out here is he is shown riding a goat and surrounded by images of the zodiac. What did I say yesterday about the round table representing the zodiac and the wheel of the year? Yes, multiple meanings overlaid. Is that people do not think like, this is how I think. How can I relate to the common person that does not see multi-layered meaning? That's how I think. It's like so ingrained in me. I don't even think about it. It's automatic because I've trained my brain to that point and my intuition. All right, let's start again. To this pan-cultural, pan-religious background, we must add the Celtic resurgence. This is important. Celtic resurgence after the Roman decline in Britain. A culture in which, here it is, this is our culture. This is where we come from. Culture in which prophecy poetry, music, song, and mystical or fervent inspiration were the very fabric of life. Wow. A culture in which prophecy, poetry, music, song, and mystical or fervent inspiration, see, that's where our strength came from, were the very fabric, weaving, web of weird, of life. So as women would weave, that was a form of spiritual protection, infusing concepts into what they wove. Interesting. Okay. No king would have been adequate or secure without a druid, seer, or bard. Interesting, isn't it? Thus, let's see, thus far we have summarized the possible existence of Merlin or Merlins and the connection of such a person to Celtic traditions of Druidism and important relationship between king and land, sovereignty of the land. It is keynote. Of equal importance is the role of Merlin as wise man or even scientist. I'm going to pause. Science is directly related to the alchemical arts, going back to such people as John Dee with Elizabeth I. And John Dee was of Welsh origin. His father was of Welsh origin. Are we seeing the connection? He had a direct link back to Druidic sciences and knowledge. Then what happened? Overlay, overwrite, encoding mathematical sequences on modern English language. Numerical value. You could say one sentence one way, and it would have a mathematical equivalent on the other side, meaning something else. So you could be discussing something in public, and the people that know the hidden meaning will pick that up. But your average person would not. It would sound like a regular conversation. So, again, of equal importance is the role of Merlin as wise man or even scientist. Now, why scientist? Because you would be observing the natural occurrences in nature, right? The movement of birds. This happens at this time of the year. And after sitting there and watching for many years, you would know what was coming. Common sense, right? This occurs repeatedly in legendary sources and requires some attention in its own right. Any competent war leader or king needs continual and up-to-date advice on weapons, engineering, tactics, and above all, a regular, here it is, flow of intelligence or espionage, carrying information about invading troops. Now, wouldn't a troop of musicians be great messengers? Right? Because they look like entertainment, just saying. Let's see, invading troops, overseas developments, terrain, fodder, and of course, weather. That's a big one, right? Because that's primal. Well, some of the more mundane details may be attended by military specialists. That's right. The far-seeing and strategic or scientific matters require specialist advice and operation. So this is what they did to take over, is they got hold of some of these specialists or these highly trained intellectuals. Or maybe somebody like John Dee would have trained under somebody else who maybe had a higher character and then deceived. But they turned on John Dee just as well and drove him out. Eventually, as far as I know. I'll have to research that, but that's a big turning point period, right? Because they were overlaying alchemy. Okay, and so you have social alchemy that is done over an entire population. What about the whole world? Casting a spell over the whole world, right? Oh, shit. Damn, it's getting into what I just said. Holy shit, I didn't even realize I was there. Here it is, getting big. Boundary between intelligencer and magician in the service of a royal court or war leader was thin indeed. Here it is. As late as the reign of Elizabeth I, the Magus, Dr. D, that's your John D, your Welshman, combined his scientific, here it is, listen close, scientific, magical, and here's the key note, cryptographical skills. Now, if you've been listening to me for a while, you're going to notice I have been stating that for quite a while, a couple of years now. I got to the point where I just stopped talking about it until other people started to listen to what I was saying. I have known this. Remember, my father was a crypto repairman. Notice the key word, crypto, hidden, right? Coded. It's what he did in the military. So that requires a top secret clearance, right? I don't know. He didn't tell me anything he wasn't supposed to. He had a saying, if you don't need to know, then you don't want to, because then you have to be responsible for what you know, right? And cryptographical skills in the service, here it is, there's your MI6. This is where MI6 goes back to. Of the crown and state. And so infiltrating, say, Wicca with an MI6 agent is another subversion of the ancient path. Again, seeing the upsurgence, they want to direct where it goes. That's their point. Here it is. Even Samuel Pepys, in the reign of Charles II, here it is, prepared. Oh, man. A study of far sight. Oh, my God. Among both Spanish and Scottish people on the royal assumption that it might be used as a potential weapon of war. What does that mean? That means psychic warfare. Huh? Yeah. Seeing from a distance. What happened? The sight that was once used to gain wisdom was now used to specifically for war rather than healing. Just like Tesla, they flipped it to a destructive end. That's not what Tesla wanted. It's the same thing. Okay. The traditions of Merlin associated with the Arthurian period are connected to this role of magus. There's your magic. Look at the origin of words and titles. This is why I state that I do not practice magic. For one reason, I am a magi. I'm not a magi. That has a specific Persian connection. That's not me. Now, union with the spirit of the land, yes. All right. Just as they are to the prophet, king and land. That's the override. They get you to use their words. You are calling yourself a magi if you say you are practicing magic. What does that have to do with your original people? Huh. Just saying. Finally, we may touch upon the most mysterious weapon of all in Arthur's armory. Here it is. Oh man, central. The spirit of the land of Britain. Now, goddess Bridget. Direct link. Yeah. Goddess of sovereignty of the land, period. In early records, Britain is sometimes called, here it is, Clasmyrden. Clasmyrdin. There is your Welsh link directly to the English. Ing, right? Another pagan god. I feel connected to that as well. Here we find a faint echo that not only was Merlin a title. See what? A title. That is what they knocked out. They put excrement over that title with Myrde versus Myrden. That had to do with a sacred connection with the land. They flipped the script. Now, a title for seer, right? Seers were associated with bards. So you could be a seer, prophet, bard, priest, whatever. But it would have been in unity. But that he may have been connected, here it is, to a tutelary deity of the land, is submissive to the king. Do we see a pattern? They did the same shit with Robin Hood, right? It's becoming obvious. All right. Merlin, as a youth, predicts the whole future history of Britain, inspired, here's the vision, by two dragons, this is what I was talking about, who live deep within the earth. We find a poetical connection between the seer and the land. Merlin was someone who, through whom the power of the land made itself known to the king. That's where you have your bard king, prophet king, seer king, whatever. Little wonder, therefore, that there was an enduring theme, here it is, in which Merlin guided and aided Arthur. Merlin was the mediating magical factor to overview of wisdom of the land. So maybe the ancient god represented wisdom of the land, and maybe the goddess represented sovereignty of the land. In harmony, you must be wise, right, to have union with the goddess of sovereignty. She's not going to accept you otherwise. Why would she? Because she is wise and ancient. Okay. While Arthur was the active dynamic factor of change, here it is, purification and resistance to invasion. Why purification? Because you have to be of clean and clear virtue in order to have divine unity with the goddess of sovereignty of the land. Of course, that is what went to the wayside, right? Through warlords, in my opinion, of course. And that is why Arthur was overlaid as a warlord. That is why King Richard was overlaid over the top of Robin Hood. The same reason. It is a dominance of sovereignty over the divinity of the spirit of the land. Period. My opinion, of course. Where so-called imaginary figures rode into battle shoulder to shoulder with actual 6th century warriors. It is no longer possible, perhaps, to separate the two. But though few now remember the men who fought and died alongside their leader, in this epic, myth, haunted stories of King Arthur and his knights of the Round Table, Merlin, Lancelot, Guinevere, their memory is enshrined for all time. Right? But look at the overlay. Now, as I explained, that is an office or a position, just like my dad explained the whole thing with Christianity as Christ and the devil or Satan being a position of authority that someone holds, right? Like ruler of the underworld or something. So the overlay is right there. Now, the next section, because that was the end of that. That was really interesting. I liked that. Thank you for the thumbs up. I appreciate you. So the next one is the beheading game. I'm going to take a short break, rest my voice for a second, because staring down is hard. But just to discuss that and think about that, I'm like, So the most trippy part is that it has to do with my father and how folkish he was. I don't know. I'm drawn to it. And I pretty much feel like the son of a druid, because that's how my dad lived. He lived it. Not this fake, fancy bullshit where you put on garb and you act. No, that happens internally. That might be part of the physical representation. However, it is not core to root. And I just asked and I just wondered as I got older, I'm like, why am I so different? You know, my dad was so folkish, and I know why. He was not from this state. That is why. My dad had traveled the world in the military, so he wasn't sheltered into whatever, you know, so he would have been possibly gone to England, Scotland, Ireland, because the ships would go all over the world. I remember him telling me about he brought something back from Greece. It was like a brass medallion or something like that. And I still have that, you know. Or he would collect coins from different regions of the world as he would go there, or stamps or something, you know what I mean? Or books for that matter. But as you can see, the stark drop off coverage like this is rare. Most of the time you get Christian overwrite with no mention of the pagan roots. And that is intentional. And that's to sell to Christians, right? Where I'm like, wow. What would have happened is, for instance, if I had not broken away from Mormonism at 16, if I had not had all the chaos in my life to realize I did not want to be controlled by stick up the ass Mormon men who just think they have authority and they're God's gift to the earth or some shit. And I just thought, asshole, I don't like you. Stay the hell away from me. You know what I'm saying? And if that seems negative, it's because it's like, God damn it, you are already the dominant motherfucking culture. See, I start going street. I was thinking about those missionaries when I ripped their heads off for even daring to talk to me and approach me. It's like, why do you assume that I would be interested remotely in anything you have to say? Right? But that's because they are sitting on the pillow of acceptance in society, where pagans or dissident, we become dissidents. We become the outlaws in the forest. Like, how does that work? That is how unnatural reality has become, right? Now, if we had science that was in total harmony with the earth, this is what I feel. Immortality would be present. What did I just say? Now, they want to make sure that if any technology exists like that, say the fountain of youth or the elixir of life, that is for them, right? Just like the Ubers, again, in the time machine. They submit everybody else down to an animalistic level. This is what's up. And then they feed on them. They eat them. Now, If they're taking certain chemicals in the brain and glands that promote it to build a bigger brain, whatever, but whatever they build into becomes top heavy. That means it is out of balance. So you build aggression and violence, but no wisdom. So it is always to kind of perch on top of the prey and sit there, right? But then no, only those who are in your wolf pack, right, that identify that alpha as being dominant will eat. And any other wolf that challenges that dominant wolf will kill to maintain leadership of the pack. There is no difference with humans. And getting away from base instinct, you do not even realize you are being dominated psychologically and physically. So again, the missionaries walking up to me ignorant to this reality, right? They have not spent 20 years, for instance, as a number, it's a round number, developing themselves. They grew up programmed, all right? They get a program to go wander around. They are a computer program. They are not thinking individuals. They're a goddamn bot. And that is why you got a harsh treatment. Say, if I went up to a Japanese sword master, okay, and I had no experience, to give you a background, it takes a bare minimum of 11 years to learn how to make those swords. Did you hear what I said? That's how layered it is. So it'd be like me walking up to the sword master and asking him if he'd be interested in me talking to him about swords when I don't know shit. I can't even touch what he knows. Right? His experience and level is so far beyond. And that's what people don't realize about the spirit realm. You approach that in arrogance, you aren't getting shit. Nothing. Why would any powerful, wise being teach you something and then so it could be abused and mishandled? Then you become destructive to your own people. Why? You've now gotten a foothold into I'm powerful. That is the deception. And that is what I see with quite a few, I'm not going to say specific channels, but I see the attitude. We'll just say so-called pagan affiliated groups. So how can I relate to someone that is only trying to sell me something? They are not radiating folk soul. All right? So if you think about it in ancient terms, money is irrelevant. Now, intention is king and queen. Right? Not war and domination. Now, that only became necessary because humans have not grown, and that's part of the disruption to our original culture, to the point where we had achieved equilibrium, right, between women and men and between the land. And anytime that is disrupted, you have disharmony and war. Those are the facts. And even now, women are still on a tier down because the rich are bloated males generally. This is my opinion, not all of them, I'm just saying in general as a description, that are used to getting their way, and women are prostitutes to them. That's how it seems to me. That's not my opinion. That is the total opposite of what Robin Hood would have represented. He worshipped women. He worshipped the goddess. I am no different than him. I love women. But If they're an evil woman, then no, dangerous, right? Knowing that I have a natural attraction to women, I have to guard that because that could be utilized as I have a kind nature. And I got a polarity raising where boys did not get kindness unless it was from my mom, right? My dad was strict, and you were expected to be manly. That's just the way I was raised, even as a child. I just don't know how it's getting raised old school. Like, there are severe consequences for not listening to wisdom and rightful authority. So even though it was one, let's just say one little M&M I took out of my dad's little jar, that resulted in a complete and total beat down with big welts left all over my body. Now, so then I learned, right? Do not take without asking. Even at three years old, I would not have done that, but that's how I was treated. My sisters did not get that treatment. And so to try to relate to this whole metrosexual shit, I can't. I don't, it's not who I am. Now, I am a creative individual. Would I possibly for fun wear theater makeup? Sure. Do I want to dress up like Tammy Faye Baker and be a drag queen? Hell no. But you think about the jesters of old, the minstrels, they could have dressed up. They could have had some like face paint, whatever. Or what? Woad. Huh. Origin back to the Welsh again, right? Back to Celtic warriors. Shall we look it up? I'm going to look it up. Let's look it up. You know, the blue woad was an admixture of like hallucinogenic properties or something. Let's see. Hallucinogenic, whatever. So there you have a connection back to the woodland. Why did they want to get us away from the woodland? Now, here's another thought. They mixed mushrooms into the body paint. And oh my God. Now, oh, here it is. Whoa, WOAD. Ooh, shit. Yeah. Let's see. The first, okay, history of woad cultivation. It's from Wikipedia. Ancient use. The first archaeological finds of woad, here it is, seeds. So Woden, remember? Link, possible. Seeds date to the Neolithic, so that is ancient. That's what I'm saying. These are the links they attacked and tried to break and destroy. The seeds have been found in the cave of, let's see, Adoste, Bouches du Rhône in France. I think that's the Cave of the Cats, but I'm not sure because I don't know. Impressions of seeds, and that the Cave of the Cats was associated with Morrigan and rites of passage for warriors. Do you hear me? Okay. Impression of seeds of Faberwade. Let's see. Or German indigo. So there's a Germanic link of the plant family, Brossa, whatever in Latin, have been found on pottery. Oh shit. Pottery in the Iron Age settlement of Hunenberg, Germany. Boom. Gauntlet drop. Seed and pod fragments have also been found in the Iron Age pit. Here we go. At Dragonby. Huh? Welsh dragon, red and white dragon. North Lincolnshire, United Kingdom. The Hallstatt burials of the Hochdorf chieftain's grave and let's see, homikel, contain textiles. There it is. You're weaving, dyed with woad. Interesting. So everything had meaning, right? Malo and Rondow write that woad was known, okay, as far back as the time of ancient Egyptians, who used it to dye the cloth wrappings applied for the mummies. So apparently it was some kind of preservative, right? Skeleton informs us that one of the early dyes discovered by the ancient Egyptians was blue woad. Huh, interesting. Lucas writes, but remember, each region would have discovered a use for those plants over time, and they would have associated their own symbolic meaning, right? What has been assumed to have been Indian indigo on ancient Egyptian fabrics may have been woad. Now, that also could result in trade between, say, the Scythians. There would have been maybe, I don't know, traveled back and forth. The tales of druids traveling to different regions as teachers, and a world college that was attacked. Possible. Okay. Hall states that the ancient Egyptians created the blue dye by using indigotin, otherwise known as woad. Here we go. Celtic blue is a shade of blue also known as glass celtig in Welsh, or gom, let's see, Cetiach, in both the Irish language and Scottish Gaelic. See, so that is connected. All those tribes are connected. The Welsh are connected to the Scottish and the Irish, as well as the Gauls, Gaelic, right? Julius Caesar reported in, let's see, Commentary di Bello Gallico, that the Brittani, that's a tribe, Breton, used to color their bodies blue with vitrum. You know, it's so funny too. My dad told me, I was like, what color do you think I should be associated with? And he looked at me and he goes, blue. He said the same thing about himself. I was like, huh. So that's significant. Plus blue eyes, huh. A word that means primarily glass, but also the domestic name for the woad. Let's see. Besides the Gaulish loan word glastum here, from Proto-Celtic glastos, oh my God, which meant green. God of the greenwood. Robin Wood. Huh. The connection seems to be both that. See, that both glass and the woad are water-like. Okay. Proto-Indo-European, wedro, water-like. Connection to the water. Now I was thinking Lady of the Lake versus Goddess of Sovereignty of the Land. But I would think that would extend out to the waters as well. Anyway, in the terms of use, Latin vitrum is more often used to refer to glass rather than woad. The use for the word for the woad might also be understood as colored like glass, applied to the part and the dye made from it. Alrighty, going down. Due to this and the other Roman accounts of them painting or possibly tattooing their bodies, northern inhabitants of Britain came to be known as Picts. There it is, Pict. Painted ones. Huh. In Latin, of course. You know my opinion of Latin. Gillencar conducted experiments using indigo pigment. So there's another, you have green, you have blue, and then you have purple, right? Indigo pigment derived from woad mixed with different binders to make body paint. The resulting paints yielded colors from gray blue to intense midnight blue to black. Now that would help you hide at night, huh? Or even in the woodland or in shaded areas more easily. People with modern experiences with woad, think Navy SEALs and like face paint, you know what I'm saying? It's similar. People with modern experiences with woad as a tattoo pigment, okay, claimed that it does not work well and is actually caustic and causing scarring when put into the skin. Mm-hmm. That would also depend on what you mixed it with, huh? It has also been claimed that Caesar was referring to some form of copper. Now, copper turns green, right? Copper is electromagnetic, right? Copper or iron infused with what shit that makes you trip balls. So your electromagnetic frequency would increase, I would think. Anyway, analysis done on the Lindau man did return evidence, here it is, of copper. And that was also a metal that was used for art, for, a medium to work in, because it was a softer metal. The same study also noted that the earliest definite reference to the woad plant in the British Isles dates to a seed impression on the Anglo-Saxon pot. Ingi Frey, huh? Let's see. Inglewood. Anyway, the authors theorize that vitrum could have actually referred to copper sulfates naturally occurring in variant chalcanthite or the mineral azurite. So you could have, I know Jonah Jinton, she will grind down stones and other things to make certain colors, and then she will paint with that. Okay, so it's kind of a similar, very folkish, paganistic thing to do. You are using what is in your natural environment to your aid and to create. A later study concluded the amount was not of sufficient magnitude to provide convincing evidence that the copper was deliberately applied as paint. But as I've said, when copper starts to tarnish, it turns green or oxidized. Woad was an important dyeing agent in much of Europe and parts of England during the medieval period. Camouflage, right? Body paint. However, dye traders, here it is, began to import indigo. Now, if you're a dye trader, would it be possible to infuse that dye with a poison as infiltration to kill people off? It could be. I'm not saying, but it could be infiltrated. Just saying. I'm not saying it was. Okay. During the 16th and 17th century, they will do anything to win wars. Anything. Which threatened to replace locally grown woad. Interesting. That's an override of trade. Why are they trying to switch that up? Because they knew it was popular, right? As the primary blue dye. So replacing it, locally grown woad as the primary blue dye. It threatened to replace it. See, these things are significant, but a lot of people wouldn't pay attention to it, I know. The translation of vitrum as woad may date to this period. Going down. Woad was one of the three staples, here it is, of the European dyeing industry, along with weld, which that is yellow, and Madder red. Now, the Mad Hatter is kind of play on words. The hat matter. Oh. Now, Chaucer mentions their use by the dyer. I was thinking about the word weld, to fuse, as related to wode, because you are fusing, right? At least that's how I look at it. Let's see. Chaucer mentions their use by the dyer. Let Esther in his poem, The Former Age. Okay. No matter weld or wood, the test stare, light stare. I don't know. Let's see. Nay knew. Okay, nay knew. He knew not. The fleece was of his former hue. Right. The three colors can be seen together in tapestries such as, this is interesting, The Hunt of the Unicorn. That'd be an interesting read. 1495 to 1505. Though typically it is the dark blue of the woad that has lasted best. Okay. Medieval uses of the dye were not limited to textiles. For example, the illustrator of the Lindisfarne Gospels used a woad-based pigment or blueprint. That would have been done intentionally because of what it symbolized, right? There's your overwrite again. All right. In Viking Age levels at archaeological digs at York, here it is, a dye shop with remains of both woad and madder, so that's blue and red generally, well, blue-green or blue and red, have been excavated and dated to the 10th century. So I would think that would have started to drop off or be changed in use after Charlemagne, right? In medieval times, centers of woad cultivation lay in, here it is, Lincolnshire and Somerset. So if those were the central areas, could you possibly associate Robin Hood? Yes. Let's see. In my opinion, of course. See, Jülich and Erfurt area in, oh my God, here it is. You're gonna freak out when I state this. Let's see, Jülich and Erfurt area in England, right? Yeah, that Somerset in England. Now, here it is. I'm gonna do it again. I'm building it up on purpose. Jülich and Erfurt area in Thuringia in Germany. Huh. There's your link. Huh? Princess of Thuringia? Oh. Anyway, someone might have mentioned that. Let's see. Piedmont and Tuscany in Italy, in Gascony, Normandy, the Somme Basin. Let's see. The Amiens of, here it is. To Saint Quentin, no. Brittany, and above all, Languedoc in France. This last region in the triangle created by Toulouse, Albi, and Carcassonne was for a long time the most productive of woad or pastel, as it was known there. One writer commenting that woad hath made the country the happiest and richest in Europe. So that would be targeted, right? They would want to control those dyes, big money. And that's what all this shit was about, is getting control of everything of value for trade and then pushing everybody else out and overriding everything. Okay. The prosperous woad merchants of Toulouse displayed their affluence in splendid mansions. So someone might have realized that and started to infiltrate the dye trade, many of which still stand, as the Hotel de Bernay, I don't know, and the Hotel de Assazat, whatever. One merchant, Jean de Bernay. Oh, here it is. Oh my God. This is in the article. A Spanish Jew who had fled the Inquisition was creditworthy enough to be the main guarantor of the ransomed King Francis the First, after his capture at the Battle of Pavia by Charles V of Spain. Much of the woad produced here, remember, woad is connected to war, here was used for the cloth industry in southern France. So it's all about controlling trade, whoever it is. Elites want control over the trade. But it was also exported via Bayonne, Narbonne, and Bordeaux to Flanders, the Low Countries, Italy, and above all, Britain and Spain. So the woad was it being shipped out. So it's kind of like, we're going to take your good shit and here's some cheap shit that's not as good. Isn't that kind of how it goes? Anyway, I don't know, just saying it. After cropping the woad, Edish could be let out for grazing sheep. The woad produced in Lincolnshire, in Cambridgeshire, in the 19th century was shipped out from the port of Wisbech. Let's see, Spalding and Boston, both the last to the northern mills and the USA. That's in capitals. The last portable woad mill was at Parson Drove, Cambridgeshire. Wisbech in Fenland Museum has a woad mill model, photos, and other items in woad production. A major market for woad was at, let's see, Gorlitz in Silesia. I don't know, Silesia, whatever. The citizens of the five, here it is, Thuringian, Faberwade, see, Dyewoad, towns of Erfurt, Gotha, there's your Gothic, Gotha, the Goths, Tenstead, Almstadt, or Orange, okay, Ornstadt, and Langensalza had their own charters. In Erfurt, the Woad Rangers gave the funds to found, here it is, they used the wealth to found universities. The University of Erfurt. Now, traditional fabric is still printed with woad. Interesting. In Thuringia, Saxony, and Lusatia today, interesting, is known as Blodruk, literally blue printing. So see, this goes into ink, this goes into printing of the word, this goes into occult meaning being associated with, this goes into overwrite of everything, oral tradition, warrior tradition, all of it is interlinked, in my opinion. Of course, here it is. Woad and indigo. Here it is. The dye chemical extracted from woad is indigo. The same dye extracted from true indigo, but in lower concentration. Following the Portuguese discovery of the sea route to India, trade routes, by the navigator Vasco da Gama in 1498. So that'd be 6 years after Columbus, right? Now, great amounts of indigo were imported from Asia. Laws were passed in some parts of Europe to protect the woad industry from the competition of the indigo trade. It was proclaimed that indigo caused, let's see, yarns to rot. So what would that do to your body if you were wearing that? Kind of poisonous, huh? Anyway, I don't know. In 1577, the German government, here it is, officially, in 1577, John D. Elizabeth I era, overlay. The German government officially prohibited the use of indigo. Well, I guess that's good if it's low quality shit that can break down, where the other that they had didn't, as far as I can see. So, as I said, here's the garbage, and we're going to take the good shit anyway, because it's less expensive. Denouncing it as the pernicious, deceitful, and corrosive substance, the devil's dye. Anyway, so that looks like an overwrite of the use of that as being sacred. Anything that was considered sacred, connection to the sovereignty of the land, so on and so forth, pagan origin, was called the devil, which is bullshit, but it's what it is. This prohibition was repeated, here it is, oh my God, in 1594 and again in 1603. Now, who died in 1603? Queen Elizabeth I. Now, note that Granuaile O'Malley was reported to have died the same year. Why was it that Elizabeth I and Granuaile O'Malley went down the same year? And if I remember, when Granuaile met with Elizabeth I, she was in her 60s, right? She was a wise, experienced woman, a captain, still of quite high note and power and prestige. She's considered a queen of the sea. Her bloodlines were ancient. Okay? Direct link back to Druidry, for sure. In France, Henry VIII, in an edict, or whatever, the sixth or whatever it is, fourth, in an edict of 1609. So there's your bitch assness. Now you notice that happened after Elizabeth died. So I'm almost going to say that Elizabeth I's death was not an accident, and neither was Granuaile O'Malley's death an accident. It was a power grab. Now, either that or, Granuaile was not a dumbass. Maybe she would have just disappeared and faked her own death. You don't know. It would make sense. A person of her intelligence would do that. Just saying. And back then, it'd be hard to prove that didn't happen. So who knows? I don't know. Okay. Forbade under pain of death. Oh, wow. The use of the false and pernicious Indian drug. So kind of similar how they treated weed for a long time when I was growing up. Now it's not as big of a deal. But back in my day in Utah, it was like being a crackhead or goddamn fucking heroin addict, even though it didn't do that shit. It mellowed you out and it wasn't destructive. Cigarettes and alcohol would be way more destructive than weed. Just saying, whether you eat it or smoke it, but it has a calming effect on your nervous system. Got it? Where all the stimulants don't. Just saying. And there are different strains of that chemical that will do different things versus a indigo plant, right? Versus a sativa. And there's even a third strain. There's probably other strains that are older you don't know about. Now, different chemical components, different THC molecules do different things in your body, inside your endocannabinoid system. A cannabinoid, right? That's a regulator. Anyway, The last commercial harvest of woad till recent times occurred in 1932. But this is the ignorance. Okay, I want you to consider reefer madness back in the 1930s. That connects into that. And they've, oh, you would go psycho and kill everybody. Oh my God. I'm like, no, your alcohol and pharmaceutical drugs are more likely to have you do that. Just my opinion, because it's unnatural. It is isolate. I get raised around natural medicine growing up. That reminds me of something. Okay. I'll tell you. So we had Master Chen, and he ran a company called Sunrider. And my family was, or my dad and my mom were a part of that, distributors, whatever, back in the day. It's no longer really a thing now, but it was. And so I go to see this demonstration, and I'm a kid. I'm a little kid. Probably, I don't know, 80s, early 80s. And he was like Bruce Lee, okay? And he could put the back of his head on the lip of a chair, and then his heels on the other lip of the chair with nothing underneath him, okay? And he had trained his body and used herbs to strengthen himself to the point where I think it was like 400-pound woman. I don't know if she was that big, but she was big. Came and sat on his abdomen, and it didn't move his body at all. It was like a solid piece of wood. And I said, wow. And I thought about the level and training Bruce Lee was at, where he could, do a backflip and kick you in the face or something, and then land, no problem. You look at that, you look at your modern advent of video games. People could do that shit for real. Now imagine that your folk soul was much stronger. You would add spiritual power if you had developed yourself. So what's of more value? Developing spiritual power or a giant mountain of gold? You can't take the gold with you, can you? But your folk soul goes wherever you go. What else is there? They have the beheading game, but I'm not going to read that right now. How it's kind of traumatic. Ooh, this looks cool. We're on page 167. Celtic Frenzy. Perfect. Okay. 3 magical or necromantic knights were in King Arthur's court. Huh. So could that represent past kings, right? Past pagan kings, possibly. Overlooking the land. Or, they're undead warriors, That's something Tolkien also had as part of his character storyline. Let's see. Turgwide or Wad. No, wait, Wode, almost of the last name. You see the spelling, that would have been added. They could metamorph themselves into what shape or character they pleased. See, they were transcending unto the other realm as they went into battle. And it said, no man could overcome them. See, they had committed to battle to the point where they were going in knowing most likely they will not survive. But in their concept, that would be like folk soul immortality. Anyway, here we go. Yeah. Arthur through time. The fortunes which have attended the transmission of the matter of Britain from its inception in the so-called Dark Ages have been has been varied with the changes of attitude which have accompanied each succeeding age. So you have an overwrite and an add-on to every successive um, victory they had over our pagan origins through Charlemagne. Hmm? So the figures of Arthur and his warriors have altered, sometimes subtly, and they also claim false honor because what they've done is deception. It's not through honoring the sovereignty of the land, it's through the dominance of the sovereignty of the land. So their idea is to dominate the goddess, right? That's raping the land in, direct link, as far as how a pagan person might look at it. You're dishonorable. It's like a husband that consistently cheats on his wife in front of her and then tells her to deal with it. Eventually, she's going to get pissed and leave or do something or submit. You make the choice. But I would suggest don't ever involve yourself with anyone that acts like that. Let's see. Almost from the moment of Arthur's disappearance, reality began to be shaped to fit the needs of the time. And again, overwrite, overlay. Let's see. This is, of course, I'm kind of skipping around a little bit. Vastly oversimplified version of what occurred, a thumbnail sketch of 500 years of history and cultural exchange. Okay. And you have your relics. Okay, those would have been sacred animistic items, and then they were overlaid, such as, and I brought this up before, the chalice, representing union of the goddess and the god. Why? The stem is the masculine principle, and the container of the liquid, it represents the feminine. It's unity. So, anyway, my opinion. IO principle yet again. Arthurian miracles. So now our supernatural stories that we had are now overlaid and demoted consistently. So let's see, Arthur in politics. Thus the name and status of Arthur can be seen to have had a lengthy pardon me, history of political use, which has as yet to be fully chronicled. It is clear that for the English monarchy of the Middle Ages, Arthur represented a figure of such eminence and nobility that to claim descent from him enhanced their own nature. They're lying about that, as well as their claim to the throne. Interesting. Just as the Normans regarded themselves as successors to Arthur, so the Welsh princes, in their long struggle against their overlords, claimed direct descent from Arthur through the line of Cadwallader, who was considered, here it is, the lost true king of Britain. Why? Somebody knows something. It has been shown by scholars that Henry VII, making the most of a slender claim to royal prestige, traced his descent from Brutus. Well, that is the Roman overlay, right? Just like Mirrodin got overlaid by Merlin. But what name does everybody know? The overlaid name. Brutus in 50 degrees, and was hailed by the Welsh as the king, the bull of Mona, the resurrected Arthur. So there's your resurrection, god of resurrection. Then you have the connection into the oak and holly, right? One king dies, one comes back to life, is reborn. Same concept. Moving on. And that at his coronation, here it is. the red dragon of Cadwallader, and Arthur was born in the procession. Now, do you remember what I said? In Dungeons and Dragons, and also the overlay in Lord of the Rings as Smaug, the red dragon, being evil. Chaotic evil is the alignment of a red dragon in Dungeons and Dragons. Interesting that could possibly be propaganda overlay, not even realizing the subconscious impact of what that means, but they know what it means. And they know most people will not look. They're focused on pop entertainment. This is not their interest. It's mine. I can give a shit about all the pop culture. I don't care. The Wigmore MS, preserved at Chicago University Library, has also been cited as proof of the use of Arthurian material for political ends. Gauntlet drop. This MS, which belonged to the powerful Welsh family of Mortimer, contained material from Geoffrey of Monmouth and more infiltration from Geoffrey, as well as other ancient sources, in the parts referring to Arthur, Brutus, or Cadwallader. So what's the original name? You catch it? There are marginal notations which make it easier, make it clear that the marriage of Ralph de Mortimer and Gwlad Usa, daughter of Iorwerth, Prince of Wales, in 1228, was understood as a joining of the Norman family, to which stood in direct descent of Arthur. So more than likely, they took those bloodlines. And so the royals, right, they're supposed to be of German descent, but yet they hold the title of Prince of Wales. Do you see how this works? So the original society that birthed all of these stories and art and all of this was overwritten by other royal houses. And so they would have kept the stories and the art because that would have been well known in the land. But now they are the sovereign. And now they claim the right to that art that now represents them. Do we see how this works on a metaphysical and esoteric level? It's a direct attack on the, let's say, universal folk soul. Okay, don't get that confused with universalism. It has nothing to do with that. It means the collective consciousness of the folk, period. That's what they wanted to wipe out. Because when you are attuning, you are attuning to the power of your people and the sovereignty of the land. Why would they want a true king with a true heart that would overthrow their unrighteous domain or dominion, as they call it? Nationalism. All of this can be seen to reflect another important aspect. Here it is, of the Celtic soul. Interesting. That was the next line. Folk soul, right? This is intense. Like, it feels like there's literally someone standing on my shoulder going, look. It's like my dad's like, wake up, son. I know what the truth is. I'm in the other world now. I think my dad always knew. Because he told me I was related to druids. That was his little inside joke. Because he was a druid. Period. It's intense and sometimes overwhelming nationalism, which not only fueled the strength of purpose, enabling Arthur to keep the Germanic invaders at bay. So now Arthur, which is associated with the Romans, is somehow keeping the Germanic invaders at bay that are the origin and connected to the tribe. But actually, in my opinion, of course, but actually generated the kind and connected to Woden, right? Kind of heroic battle frenzy, which we have noted as an aspect of the Arthurian warfare. I would say the wild man of the wood and the frenzy. That's also related to the fire in the head. See, in Jeffrey's Historia can be said to be the first literary example of Celtic nationalism we still possess, and which provided material for several generations to build upon. All right. Oh, here we go. So it has continued right up to the present, where so-called Arthurian themes have been re-invoked to support more sinister, here's the interesting, racial tendencies. Thus, in Germany, for example, at the height of the Nazi domination, Hitler sent the highest ranking members of his SS to Montségur in the Pyrenees to seek the Grail. Interesting. The chalice. That's what they said. I know. Here, have a drink of this. I don't think so. Fortunately, if not surprising, they were unsuccessful. But belief in matters Arthurian sustained their search. Such belief indeed as has kept the legends alive, and with them a continuing tradition of verities represented by Arthur's warriors and Celtic culture, which they in turn represent. See, so I am interested in pre-Nazi Germany reality, back to the original folk culture, which has zero to do with being racist and all this other shit that was assigned to it. Yet another overlay and overwrite to disparage a specific group of people, dominate their country, take over their language. That's how I feel. Now, you could choose Ireland, Scotland, blah, blah, blah. And none of those have anything to do being linked to Hitler or any retarded shit like that. And now, in my opinion, Hitler was an MI6 agent. He was a double agent working with the British to help them take over the country. So what's my opinion of Hitler? Low. So now they appropriated the ancient ways and defiled them. That was such a defilement. That was like the final move in just completely obliterating folk culture, especially in Germany. So if there were still core, like folkish people out in the woods, they're not racist. They're into being pagan and into the goddamn fucking woods. It's like these ignorant fucks, and all they do is study modern goddamn fucking history. They don't do any research whatsoever to comprehend the origin of symbols or archetypes. And to me, that is paramount to extreme racist discrimination of anyone of German heritage, in which I have some heritage. Does that mean I want to be Hitler? Hell no. I just want to uplift my folk culture, period. And not have being the natural wild man of the wood be called a devil, right? So here's this picture. That is the goal. It is not to be Hitler. That's for goddamn sure. Be like anyone. Be like Mirden, the wise elder. Okay. See, forged a short cultural period which had a remarkable effect upon Western history. Right? So we're going down on that. But as you can see, the direct Roman overlay, they will overlay their gods, their archetypes. They will take on all of our, whatever our virtuous good shit is, and put that on as a veneer to act like they are right. What did that do? That shut down industry in Germany, right? Now, they are known for fine craftsmanship. What does that link back into? Right? Probably some form of a Celtic tribe. And you would have passed down those artistic traits over time. We'll see. And so I feel like World War II is this goddamn quagmire hot button. So you got to be really careful in how you approach it. You know, where it's like, okay, this is what the standard scholar says, and this is comparative alternative history or associated history. But the idea that mainstream scholars cannot be challenged is like treating them like they're God. They're not. They are men with an opinion, or women for that matter. Mostly it's men. Let's see. The value of the individual is ultimately less than that of the clan, tribe, or race. So that is the folk soul of an entire race of people being labeled as evil. When the sun symbol they are using, see, Hitler took and perverted that shit, right? He took it and used the vulvas, or just like they're using psyops and psychic warfare. But that has nothing to do with being a Nazi. Zero. It has ancient origin. So what did he do? He invoked the ancient spirit to use and defile. Do you comprehend what I'm saying? It was an intentional destruction, organized from two sides. Whoever died, didn't die, whatever. You don't know. You weren't there. But you can have a perspective. My perspective is everybody go search your roots. And I don't hate you for wanting to seek your roots. Now, if you hate me for just wanting to be pagan and seek root source knowledge and wisdom of my people, then I say you're the haters, not me. And you are the one that is ignorant and has not studied and does not know my people and has cast judgment on them with having zero background based in anything of worth. And that's how I feel. So as soon as it becomes like a racial thing, then it becomes a problem, right? That it is an ethnic and tribal concept rather than you are this label. That's blaming. Now, you remember in the art of verbal self-defense, she covers that. So recognizing these tactics, this has to do with propaganda, defamation. And the same shit was done in history to our people. That's how I feel. And that's what I'm talking to, are my people that are related to me by blood. And being stuck in this left-right hate paradigm, or you're a racist and then you're constantly running for cover. Well, root into what the original origin is. There's always manipulation of, with war and propaganda. But here's the deal. That is also something that can kind of pinball you off into the wrong direction. Knowing what it is, okay. But getting down to the root core of what will solve the problem. What is the root core? Rather than you constantly follow the problem, right? Invoking negative energy rather than upholding and stabilizing the original folk culture. That is the main focus, period. We all know what the Christians did. We all know they were corrupt, okay? And that they stole paganism and then overwrote their shit. That is what they do. Just as taking over royal houses. And so that's why carvings of, say, our gods would be taken away, because they don't want that. That's a challenging power, and they don't want the challenge. This is an interesting picture. It's like Passage to the Other World is kind of what it reminded me of. I love the art in this book. It's really cool. Let's see. The passing of Arthur, the wounded king, is carried to the Fortunate Isle by the otherworld ferryman, Berinthus. In time, he will be cured by the magical healing arts. Here it is. Of Morgan, the Morrigan, goddess of sovereignty of the land, and there would have been Druidess is directly linked to her, the ruler of the mysterious blessed realm. Why was Morgan and Morrigan trashed in later Arthurian stories? Because she was the goddess of sovereignty of the land. Why was she called a queen of demons? No. The prophet Merlin, or Myrddin, and the bard Taliesin have carried the king's body to the seashore and watched his departure. From the description in the Vita Merlini by Geoffrey of Monmouth, written in AD 1150, and of course, I'm always suspicious of anything written after 1066 because of Charlemagne. Okay. See, which created the Arthurian warrior. Both historical and fictional may be traced through a long period of time from the earliest records of the Celts to the 20th century. Earliest records. So that implies ancient origin. We'll see. I'm kind of flipping ahead a little bit. Glastonbury, Tor, Somerset. Legends abound about this ancient site. It is associated with Arthur and with the mystical Grail, which in later stories became the object of the quest for Arthur and his knights. Now, why is that a quest? It is always a quest of the true king to seek the goddess of sovereignty, which the Grail represents. Again, overwrite. So, I think I need to take a break right there. But wow, you know. So that is from The Warriors of Arthur by John Matthews and Bob Stewart, illustrated by Richard Hook. Okay. See what it read. I'm going to read the back real quick just for fun. Let's see. Warriors of Arthur offers unique insights into the life and times of the characters immortalized through the literature of King Arthur and the Round Table. The authors present a detailed picture of the culture, weapons, and places associated with Britain's most famous king, ranging from the true 6th century origins to the romances and chronicles of the Middle Ages, through original illustrations researched by the authors and painted, by Richard Hook. How cool would that be? That artwork was rad. New color photographs of the most famous sites and numerous black and white illustrations, including archaeological reconstructions. The text is supported by a wealth of visual detail, included in a rare list of the original names of 250 of Arthur's warriors. An examination of the 12 great battles fought against Saxon invaders in the 6th century, and descriptions of the legendary and sometimes magical weapons attributed to the Celtic king and his men. A special feature unique to this reassessment of Arthurian history and legend is the inclusion of six stories retold by the authors. Through this feature, familiar Arthurian adventures are reworked in their true 6th century cultural context. See. John Matthews has made a study of Arthurian literature and has written 3 books on the Grail legends. In 1981, he co-founded the respected arts journal Labyrinth, in which he still maintains an interest. But remember, Excalibur, that's a 80s representation. And very paganistic, in origin. Bob Stewart works in theater, film, and sound recording. His many books include volumes on Merlin, imagery and symbolism in folklore and folk song, and Celtic Roman mythology. See, that's why I'm glad Bob Stewart was involved. No, there's another S. Robert Stevens. Bob Stewart. That's funny. One of the most readable and informative books on Arthur I have ever seen. I agree. The authors have combined diligent research into both the dry history and the legend with admirable flair. High-quality illustrations which greatly enhance this worthwhile study of English and Celtic legendary. I agree. See, and I've always felt like art and script were linked from seeing the old manuscripts, and the knotwork and the awesome calligraphy they would do. I've always loved that. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Okay. Now, you could marry that possibly, or you could marry Cheese Dick. You make a choice. the guy that leaves you for dead and doesn't do shit to help you, or Mr. Slick Talk. He's rich, and as soon as you become a problem, he leaves your ass on the side of the road. What happened? No more pretty princess? Yeah, no more goddamn pretty princess. Never should have been in the first place. You should have known that. If he does not hold virtue, have nothing to do with him. That includes friends. Why would you hang out with friends that have low standards and don't give a shit about you? Just saying. Consider it. Let's see how I did. This has been sitting for a minute. This is the 1975 Fender acoustic. I want you to look at the clearance on these strings. Right there. I see that gap. That gap is wide. So that allows the string to vibrate more. Where you got flamenco to classical, the flamenco has less of a gap than, say, classical. But I wondered why this guitar had such power. Now I know why. But it's I know there is a bass root to all of this folk culture. And a lot of it was stolen. That's how I feel. So after you invade, you come in and take the booty, whatever is of value. Way down to say, wisdom of the world, wisdom of the world. Oh, I saw you coming down, down, down. Be wisdom on the way. We know what you did. Overlay, override. Where you going now? We know what the dark wizard's hand does. The light of a folk soul shine on, shine deep down from within. Folk soul memory living on. Light up a folk soul is way deep down low. Near dead, the true king, all the way. As the red dragon flies overhead, sovereignty of the land, and on all the way. Morgan overhead, goddess of sovereignty. I acknowledge your power, goddess of sovereignty and of the land. True-hearted all the way. Deep down they said, fire in the head, fire in the heart, love's flame, sovereignty of the land. Oh, I just want to say, call goddess of land on sea, ocean wide, go to the sea, yeah. See my ship coming in on the horizon. Oh, light of a folk soul shining on, override, overlay. Ancient is the gold. I can't deny what's down deep inside. Folks, so more gone overhead, going to the aisle where our priestesses do dwell. Bridget of the well, meet her down. Vision, can you see? Can you see? Oh, way down south, fire in the head, fire in my heart and soul. 'Cause I know what you did, and hell, be lying all the time. But I'm gonna say I'm calling the true heart, the true sovereignty of the land, and the true king for the queen of fame. Queen of the Elflands. Well, I'm a night who I am. Wisdom is the word for which I am. Wisdom is the way, I don't hate you. Just wanna love who I am. Not live in the darkness. No, you can keep the dark ages. Wisdom is the way. Wisdom is the way. Oh, I can feel it from the depths of my soul. Deep down, they say. It's all about the spirit of the music, sovereignty of the land. God is in my heart and soul. Morgan overhead. God is some sovereignty. Oh, King of the elves, they say. He's got a wood crown. Oh, wood and stone. Wood and stone. Wood and stone. Blood and bone. Folks of forevermore. forevermore. Way deep down, say, fire in the head. Got a raging fire in the head. It's been there since I was a young man. Fire in the head. In the head. Fire, fire, fire. Heart's flame. Love of my people forever remain. Flame tree world. Long way down the stairs. They told me a long way down, long way to see. Oh, oh. You wanna know why? You can see fire in the head on fire in the folks' soul. Sure as the pouring rain, oceans wide, sovereignty of the sea. Oh, I know if you're out there, goddess of sovereignty, the Lord of fire. Folks all living memory. Oh, light the flame, hold the flame from Bridget's world. Your overlay don't work on me no more. 'Cause Bridget was a flame. Goddess of sovereignty, oh the flame, oh, oh, oh the flame, oh the flame, love's flame. The goddess of sovereignty is all that remains. hold the flame. Wide awake, wide awake, wide awake. Rough as I am, top you deep down. So don't lie to me and think that's gonna stick inside me. Oh, 'cause I don't hate you, but you hate me. Ignorance is not the guide to a true-hearted man. No, nor a true-hearted woman. For hell, the goddess of sovereignty on the land. Oh, that's what they said. It's a fire in the head. Oh, it's way down, deep down in a folk's soul. So hold the flame, oh, heart's flame. Oh, I think I had young wind just to take it easy, but I know Morgan is on land, Morgan over here. Oh, know the place sure as the pouring rain falls down, and I can see it mixing with the red on the ground. 'Cause it's sovereignty of the land. Oh, we don't. hand. So hold the heart's flame. Oh. Wow. Wow. That's awesome. The woodland weed got us some summer tea. The wild man of the woodland, Lord of the greenwood, Elf King, on the way. Got us some sovereignty. Oh, heart's flame and burn to grow. Only the truth remains. Only the truth remains. Self-existent, deep within. Only the truth remains. Love is heart's flame. Love is heart's flame. Love is heart's flame. Oh, hold the flame. I'll. Thank you. I shall return. Circle round, round table, I-O.